A British couple sold their £400,000 Manchester home and moved to Malaysia with just 2 suitcases. 3 years later, they're living in a penthouse, retired at 52, and spending less per month than their old heating bill. If you've ever looked at your bank account after paying rent, council tax, and groceries in the UK and thought, "I'm working just to survive," this story will either excite you or make you furious. In 2024, the average Brit spends 34% of their income on housing alone. In Kuala Lumpur, it's 15%. But here's where it gets controversial. Let's start with the number that made Sarah and Tom Williams pack their lives into storage, £2,847 per month. Sarah, 54, spent 28 years as an NHS nurse. Tom, 52, worked IT consulting. They weren't struggling, on paper. They owned a 3-bed semi-detached in South Manchester. Both had decent jobs, even managed to save a bit. But one December night, when their heating bill hit £340 for a single month, Sarah sat at their kitchen table and said something Tom will never forget. "We're spending more on staying warm than some people spend on their entire lives abroad." So they did the math. Manchester, £1,650 rent, equivalent if they sold and rented, £340 utilities in winter, £480 groceries, £180 transport, £197 council tax. Total, £2,847 per month. Then they looked at Kuala Lumpur, £720 for a luxury 2-bedroom condo with an infinity pool and 24-hour security, £45 for utilities, air conditioning included, running 24/7, £280 for groceries at markets overflowing with fresh fruit they'd never even heard of, £60 for transport because grab rides cost less than a bus pass, and property tax, £0. Total, £1,105 per month. That's £1,742 in savings. Every single month. £20,904 a year. But wait, isn't Malaysia cheap because the quality is terrible? Their KL condo has 24-hour security, an infinity pool on the 38th floor, a fully equipped gym, and 500 megabits per second internet. In Manchester, they were getting 67 megabits per second on a good day, and their Victorian terrace had single-glazed windows that rattled when buses drove past. They were paying double to live worse. The money shocked them. But what happened to their health? That's the part that changed everything. Within 6 months of moving, Sarah stopped taking her blood pressure medication. Here's why doctors say this is more common than you think. A 2023 study in the Journal of Environmental Psychology found that expats moving from cold, expensive cities to tropical, affordable locations showed a 28% reduction in stress-related cortisol levels within the first year. Sarah's Manchester life looked like this: 12-hour NHS shifts on her feet, leaving for work in darkness, coming home in darkness for 6 months of the year. Stress eating frozen meals because she was too exhausted to cook, too tired for the gym, too cold for evening walks. Her blood pressure was 142/91. She was on antidepressants. She was 54 and felt 70. 3 weeks into Malaysia, she woke up without an alarm for the first time in 15 years. Her new routine: morning swims before breakfast, fresh papaya and roti canai at hawker centers for £2, evening walks at 8 p.m. in 28-degree warmth, while Manchester would have been pitch black and drizzling. Within 6 months, she'd lost 18 pounds without trying. Her blood pressure dropped to 118/76. Her GP in KL, yes, she found an excellent English-speaking doctor, suggested she try coming off the antidepressants. She did. She's been off them for 2 years now. Imagine waking up and actually feeling rested. Not just, I got enough sleep, rested, but deeply, cellularly rested. That's what she describes. But critics say this is privilege, that normal people can't just run away from their problems. Here's the thing. Tom and Sarah weren't rich. They were drowning. Their Manchester home had £187,000 left on the mortgage. They sold it for £400,000, paid off the mortgage, and banked £213,000. They rent in KL, invested the equity, and live off Tom's remote consulting income, plus their savings interest. Their privilege was being brave enough to calculate the math and realizing that staying was actually the riskier choice. And then there's the thing nobody tells you about before you move. Who can actually do this? The comments are already typing. Easy for them, they had equity. Not everyone can just leave. What about people with kids? Fair. Let's address it. With equity, yes, it's easier. Sarah and Tom's £213,000 from their house sale gave them a security buffer. But without equity, it's still possible if you have remote work or online income. In 2024, 35% of the UK workforce can work remotely. Pension age. UK state pension pays out even if you live abroad. Or freelance and consulting skills. For Malaysia specifically, the MM2H visa, Malaysia my second home, requires £85,000 in a fixed deposit, which you can access after approval, plus proof of £3,400 monthly income. That's high, but it's a long-term residency visa. Alternatively, social visit visas last 90 days and are renewable. Many digital nomads do this, bouncing between countries. If you're married to a Malaysian, spouse visas are an option. What about other destinations? Thailand has similar costs but harder visa rules. Portugal is more expensive but offers easier EU access. Mexico is great for Americans but has less developed expat infrastructure. Vietnam is cheaper but less English-friendly. And kids, international schools in KL cost £4,000 to £8,000 per year, compared to £15,000 to £20,000 for UK private schools. British curriculum is available. Many expat families do this successfully. So what happened to Sarah and Tom? Where are they now? The 3-year update. Year 3. Sarah's daughter just moved to KL with her family. Here's what nobody expected. Emma, Sarah's 28-year-old daughter, visited for Christmas in Year 2. She saw her parents, healthier, happier, financially secure. She ran the same math with her husband. They moved in Year 3. They now live 15 minutes away. Sarah sees her grandkids every week now. In Manchester, it was once a month if they were lucky. Tom reflects on it like this. We thought we were giving up family. We ended up bringing them closer. Emma's kids are growing up bilingual, experiencing a totally different world. Their KL building has 23 British expat families. There's a weekly pub quiz. Their support network is stronger than their Manchester neighborhood ever was. And Sarah? She now advises other healthcare workers considering the move. She's helped 9 NHS nurses make the leap. She's found purpose again. So here's my question for you. If you could move somewhere tomorrow where your money goes 2.5 times further, your health improves, and you retire a decade early. But you'd miss British weather, bacon, and be 8 hours from family by plane. Would you do it? Comment pack if you'd start packing tomorrow. Comment stay if you think this is running away. Comment where if you'd move somewhere else instead, because Sarah and Tom aren't special. They're just tired people who did the math and chose differently. Maybe the real question isn't, can you afford to move? It's, can you afford not to? If you want the breakdown of 5 other countries where this works even better, that video drops Thursday. Don't miss it.